Torah tells us in Parshas Mishpatim, amongst all the various laws that are discussed, many of the monetary laws, the Torah tells us, Uvasar basadet treifa lo sachel. You have treifa meat, you have meat from a kosher animal, but the meat itself is no longer kosher. You cannot eat it. La kelev tashlichun oso. You throw it to the dogs. And the fact that you can't eat it, okay, we understand. But why does the Torah have to tell us what to do with it? And many of them have version comment trying to figure out what's the significance of telling us la kelev tashlichun oso. And perhaps most well known is the explanation brought in Rashi. That Rashi says that it could have said anything, could have said a kelev, a dog, is just an example of something that is not obligated in the halachos of kashrus, but you could do anything you want with it. However, there is a depth to understanding that it is specifically a kelev. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, this teaches us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not withhold, does not hold back on the reward for any creation. Back during Makas Bechoros, the Torah tells us that the dog did not make a sound. There was death that was rampant. It would be natural for the dog to say something as everybody is dying, and the kelev was silent, didn't make any noise. And for that, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tinu lo scharo. And for that, the kelev gets a reward and gets this non-kosher meat. We're not eating it anyway, but let's give it to the kelev, who deserves a reward for having kept quiet during Makas Bechoros. But there's a very, very different explanation with a tremendous depth to it, but in the Das Zakenim in Balei HaTosfos. Says the Das Zakenim, Uvasar basadet treifa, me'achar sha'kelev masar nafsho ala treifa, k'sheba hazev l'torfa. What's the relationship between this meat that exists, that's basar basadeh? It's not just anywhere, it's basadeh, it's in the field. How did this become a treifa? How did it get a mortal wound that made this kosher animal to not be kosher? Because the animal, the sheep, was attacked. Well, who is the one who makes sure that the sheep are going to be protected from those wolves? It's the dogs. It's those shepherding dogs, the dogs that are protective of the sheep to make sure that they come home. So what happened if we zoom out and try to see how did this meat end up this way? Is because it got attacked by the wolves. And when it was being attacked, it was the dog that tried to defend it. Okay, but you might say, so why is the dog get a reward? The dog messed up. The dog didn't do what it was supposed to do. Says the Das Zakenim about Tosos, the Torah is teaching us an incredible, incredible lesson. Lo tiyeh kefuye tova kenegdo. Don't be an ingrate when it comes to that dog. You know what? Instead of remembering this one time when the dog was not able to do its job and when the dog did not succeed, remember every other time when all your animals came back and you didn't have a treifa. And it guarded all the other ones. One didn't make it through. It's normally you put the sheep, the dog, to protect the sheep from the wolves. And all of them come back. On a typical basis, we're used to them coming back. But one time, it didn't work. The Torah is teaching us, don't remember that one time. Even at that one time, when something doesn't go the way that you had assumed that it was going to go, when the person didn't do what he or she was supposed to do, one time, don't focus on the one time that the person didn't do, but focus on all the other times when the person was good to you, when the person was nice to you. It's so natural and so easy just to focus on that one time when there was a slip up, that one time there was a mess up, that one time the person insulted you. But there were so many times the person was so good to you and so gracious. That's the message that the Torah is telling us here. Even though the reason that the meat is there as a treif is because of the dog, because the dog didn't do its job, don't withhold. Give it as a reward for all of the other times. It's an opportunity to not be kifuye tova, to not be ungrateful, but rather to appreciate all that is done. And it's such an important lesson. There are the times when we have good relationships with friends, with families, and that one thing happens that bothers us, and that becomes the focus through which we look at everything. And the Torah is telling us, don't. Things will happen. There are going to be bumps in the road, but don't be kifuye tova. Don't forget about the good times. Don't forget about the times when a person was so good to you. Also, we give it to the dog, even though maybe the dog messed up. The Torah is reminding us to focus on the good to focus on our positives in our relationships and never to focus just on that one bad thing.